All right. So I'm just going to sit here and wait for some people to join. I know I did this kind of last minute, so we'll see what happens. Um, and I will answer some questions if there are any. If there's not, I'll show you some new stuff in the store and maybe the new display tank in the front. When you guys do join, say you're here or something. Say hello. It shows me when you guys put a comment, but it doesn't show me when you join. I see people are watching. How we doing? If you have questions, go ahead and ask them. Sorry, Paul. I can answer that question in a lot of different ways, but I don't think compared to what you're talking about. So I'm here. I'm waiting. I will try and do another one of these at night sometime soon, potentially even tonight, maybe this weekend, for people that work during the day. Might even do it from home. Might be easier. No, Emma is not here. At least not right now. Jackie, I figured I would ask Emma to work on Saturday, so, I could attend her graduation party. I think that seems fair. There's 4 of you watching. Who else is 5 of you? Who else is here? I'm trying to respond to you guys and the other Facebook comments at the same time. Sean, if you're watching, you said you were going to bring some, what did you say, hard questions or tough questions? I'm waiting. I got nothing yet. While you guys are here, also, if there's anything you're looking for, you can ask me. I'm sitting on our order screen right now as well, so if there's anything you want, I can get it added. This isn't much of a Q&A if nobody asks any questions. Just saying. Also, can you guys hear me okay? I do have a couple fans running, so I don't know how loud it is. There's Sean. Waiting for these questions. Hi, Marcus. Not really a fish question, I suppose, but I'll answer it. Yes, but only if it's like pineapple, ham, bacon, like a Hawaiian pizza. But otherwise, no. What's up, Trisha? That wasn't a very tough question, Sean, just saying. Also, Jackie, if you're still watching, we are going to try and get Emma to do one of these as well. So you'll get to watch her do it. With me, though. Alright, now there's 9 of you. Still waiting on some different questions here. Guys, these questions can be about anything. anything about the store, about fish, about reptiles, about the business, about our tanks, freshwater, saltwater, whatever. I don't care. Apparently about pizza. Whatever you want to ask, go for it. If you ask something and I don't get to it, which probably won't happen, I'll go back to it. Ooh, your question is longer. Hold on, I have to expand on that. When making brackish or marine tanks, is there a decent DIY method to measure salt content? Yeah, kind of. Maybe not necessarily a way to measure it. There are some weird tests out there you can do to measure it. But realistically, especially if you're doing a brackish tank, the only thing I do is I take what the salt says to put into a saltwater tank and cut that in half. And that's about it. As long as you do that, you're going to be fine. Just make sure that you're not putting salt directly into the tank. You're putting salt in the water before you put it into the tank, and it's mixed. So like what we do is I'll take a 5-gallon bucket, I'll put 4 gallons into it, and then I'll put 2 cups of salt and stir the absolute crap out of it until there's no excess salt on the bottom, and then dump that in. But related to brackish, I guess to expand on that a little bit, personally, I don't measure salt content in my brackish tanks. I never have at home, I never have here. I put the salt in it that I need to begin with, and then whenever I do a water change, I'll add a little more. I don't add salt when I'm just filling the tank up, because when the water evaporates, the salt doesn't, so you still have that salt in the tank. So the only time I add salt is when I'm actually taking water out. But, you know, the whole point of brackish is when freshwater meets saltwater, so that salinity is never going to be the same in the wild, so it doesn't have to be the same in your tank. These fish in the wild are going from fresh to salt, back and forth and everything in between, so it's okay if there's some variance in the brackish tanks at home as well. What else do you guys have? Hey, Jeff. And Kathy. And I think Sarah. Thought I saw you join. And George. Trying to see if I missed anything. Oh. Anybody else have questions? Like I said, about anything. Apparently pizza or snails. Or drones. Thanks, Paul. Or about our helpers. Hold on, Sean, I gotta expand on that too. Good morning, Wanda. Hello, hello. So if anybody's just joining, feel free to ask me any questions. I'll do this up until 11 when we open if I need to. Otherwise, I'll show some tanks and stuff at the end and cut it short. I'm looking up some questions right now, though. So, Sean, in my experience, they are aggressive. I mean, just looking at the overall design of any crayfish, no matter what size they are, they have those claws for a reason. They are literally there to attack and kill and hold things so they can eat them. Now, is every single crayfish going to attempt to kill everything in your tank? Probably not. You know, I have 3 of the dwarf orange crayfish in a 10-gallon tank over here with hatchets, white clouds, and some little tiny baby Synodontis. And they're fine. I've had no issues. But I could come in tomorrow and, you know, those hatchets or white clouds may have just come into the wrong place and they may be dead. It's just what's going to happen. Yeah, personally, I think even dwarfs. Dwarfs, you're going to have much better. You're going to have much better luck with them not being as aggressive. But I mean, to give you an example, we've got this this little 2.5 gallon tank right here that you guys know on our counter. We had a couple of the little dwarf orange lobsters in there, and we have our little dollar plants here. Anytime I would go to move those dollar plants, the one orange crayfish would try and attack my hand. He would come over to the corner and try and attack me through the glass. So, realistically, yes, I think they will be aggressive, but not all of them. You may get some and completely be fine through their whole lifespan. Plus, they're not able, I mean, they're not the biggest things in the world, so they're not exactly able to catch much. I hope that kind of answers some of that for you. No problem. I am really happy she's doing well. I'm happy you like her. Jeff, I assume you're talking about the African dwarf frogs? The little guys? They don't get very big at all. I mean, what you see in the store is pretty much as big as they're going to get. Maybe another 25 to 50% on top of that, depending on, you know, what size they are, what size that specific one might be. But they don't get very big. They don't have a super long lifespan. So they're not going to grow all that long and all that large. Sean, yes, actually. I know that because I've seen somebody do it. And it actually looked really, really cool. I think, looking at their setup, it was probably a very expensive setup to be able to cohab both of them, to have the conditions good for both of them. But it did look really cool, and they did have fish and poison dart frogs in the same little, well, not little, but in the same paludarium. I see Tim joined. Hello, Tim. And Nissa. Alright, now we're getting some questions rolling. What else, guys? Yeah. No, it looks amazing. If I can contact the guy that had it, he's a customer here. I've been to his house and it looked awesome. I don't know if he still has it because I know he was looking to get rid of it. I'll get you some pictures because it looked really, really cool. And we are actually debating doing something like a paludarium in the store at some point for a semi-aquatic snake. Well, I'll talk about my dream setup really soon. Nissa, married life is great. I honestly don't really feel like anything changed, especially considering I always forget my ring. It's at home somewhere. I'm convinced the cats have stolen it. But Megan and I are easy and bought silicone rings, so I could just go and get another one for $30 if I need to. The cats play with rubber bands and hair ties at home, so I assume that my ring was no different for them. It's probably just gone somewhere. But otherwise, it's honestly the same. I really don't feel like anything changed. What else? What else did I miss? Sean? Hey, Tim. Sean, my dream setup, honestly, most of you probably know this. I was a reptile guy and a snake guy well before I was a fish guy. So my dream setup would be honestly kind of what I was just talking about, that paludarium. I really, really, really want to have a big, probably 450-gallon tank with a big display on top of it with my green anaconda. I used to have a green anaconda. I miss it. Actually, a couple of them. I want to get one back, and I want to set them up with a really cool terrarium and a fish tank to go through because they are aquatic. They will sit and just live in the water for long periods of time, so I want to do that again, and I really want to do it soon, honestly. And if there weren't laws kind of making it a little harder on me and making some of those snakes a lot harder to get and a lot more expensive, I probably would have already done it. But it will be something I do at some point. And the reason why is I just always loved snakes. I had snakes since I was a kid. My mom always had them. So it's something I've always liked. I've never liked the normal things like everybody seems to with, ball pythons, corn snakes. Nothing against them. I just like the big crazy shit. I miss my anaconda. I miss the one that made people say, "What the hell is that? Is that thing from the movie that eats people and growls?" And I miss getting to correct people. Sorry. But I definitely want to do that again sometime soon. And thanks, Nissa. Thank you. I appreciate that. The wedding was awesome, by the way. And I am sorry that I didn't live stream it. I'm pretty sure you asked me to. I actually thought about it that day, but there were obviously way too many other things on my mind. Hey, Ricky. If anybody is wondering, because I've had multiple people ask it, Ricky and I, although we have the same last name, I don't think are related, somehow. Probably are in some distant, crazy way. But there's also another Dan Boggs that shops here that I'm not related to, which is super weird. But to your question, where do I see the store in a few years as far as growth and so on? Honestly, the store is already... It has passed what I wanted it to be for the first year or so. Eventually, I do want a new building. This building is unfortunately just entirely too old for what we do, hence why we had to close last weekend. It was just too hot, just didn't work. We unfortunately lost sorry, I hit the phone. We unfortunately lost a lot of fish over the weekend. I almost got sick multiple times over the weekend in here because I was in here trying to cool the store down and do some stuff, even though we weren't open. So I want a new building. I want a bigger building. I do want to stick to freshwater. I don't necessarily want to be a bigger store like PetSmart or potentially even RMS. I still want to stay a local mom and pop kind of place. I just want it to be bigger. I want more room. And yeah, that's about it. And I think that'll be in our future in the next hopefully year or two. Hopefully that answers your question. Sean, my first tank and biggest rookie mistake. Oh my god. So we had a fish tank when I was young. All I remember is that we had 2 betas in a tank, and the divider that I feel like one of my parents made and put in there didn't hold up. So the next day we had 1 beta. That was the only time I had fished as a kid. So my first fish tank of my own was probably 4 years ago or so. Megan and I went to PetSmart. It's a stupid story. We finished our Winking Lizard beer tour on New Year's Eve. We drank 37 beers with our friends that day to finish our beer tour. We were drunk. We went to PetSmart, bought a fish tank. Thought we bought everything we needed. Didn't really know what we were doing. Just kind of asked them, hey, tell us what to buy. We bought one of those 15-gallon all-in-one, comes with everything in those boxes that they have. Put fish in it the next day like an idiot. But the biggest thing we did was, or the biggest thing we messed up was, one, we got a pleco in there, a common pleco in a little 15-gallon. 2, we didn't have a heater. For whatever reason, that just wasn't something that came to my mind as a fish owner, which I know seems absurd now, but we had fish die. The first couple months we kept buying stuff and it kept dying, and I wouldn't say the first couple months, probably the first couple weeks. And I went back to the store and asked what was going on, and they were like, oh, you don't have a heater. I'm like, oh, good. So that was probably my biggest rookie mistake. Was literally just not even knowing what I needed to put in the tank. Also putting like 25 pounds of gravel in a 15-gallon tank because that's what I was told to do. That was also stupid. And I've only been keeping fish for, yeah, about 4 years. Probably not even close to as long as many of you. Nissa, yes. Things have gotten loose in the store. Mostly reptiles. We did have a silver arowana jump out of our front tank when we had the two other tanks up there. I tried to catch it, and the floor was slippery, so I fell and did a solid split on the floor. Hurt myself, but I got the arowana back in the tank. That was a great time. But we had a tegu get loose. It was only loose for about an hour. We had a Nile monitor get loose. It was also loose for about an hour. We had a corn snake get loose for about 4 months. We actually found it in the little kind of shed covering thing that was behind our store. Completely healthy. About 4 months later. But that's it, I think. Fortunately, no creepy crawlies, or I would never be here again. So I'm just scrolling down through the questions, guys. So if you ask something and I'm not there yet, give me time. Jeff, no problem, man. This is why I do it. For those that don't know, I've been in the retail life forever. I am 34 years old. I've been in retail for 16 years, at least, maybe even 17. This is one of the things I've always wanted to do. Have my own business, do stuff like this, hopefully try and educate people. And I've always wanted to do it the right way. So this is just part of that. That's what I'm trying to do. Allison, yeah, I would love to go back to Florida or anywhere here soon. Preferably California, actually. Oh, God, Sean. 3 bala sharks in a 20-gallon tank. We had somebody with 3 about foot-long bala sharks in a 29-gallon tank, and they are now in our back tank. Yeah, I made that mistake too. I think I bought a bala shark for a 15-gallon. Steven? Yeah, there are lots of stores on the riverfront. However, unfortunately, when we opened the store was right around when they were redoing the riverfront, and that was when they knew that. So all of the rent prices just skyrocketed. We couldn't find anything down there under about 5 times what we're paying here for about the same size place. So as much as I would love to be there, it just doesn't work. Just out of curiosity, Ricky, I'm trying to read your thing here. Why does it seem like everyone is so secretive as to what they buy fish for to stock their stores? I mean, I understand most don't want to give their vendors away. It's not that it's secretive. I mean, you see me obviously not hide the boxes, and you know, I don't care about telling people where we get our fish. The part that I guess is secretive is, I guess, maybe how much we pay for them. And I guess the only reason that is because, and you know, I'm going to go back to the video game world here because that's where I worked for a long time. First off, let me see what time it is. I don't want to open the store late. Whenever you know how much something is that you're paying for, whenever you know how much that company paid for it, there seems to always be some emotion behind that when you're paying for it. You're either really happy that you're getting it for a good price, or you feel like you're getting ripped off. And I'm saying you, not you specifically, just a consumer. So, you know, in the video game world, you know, GameStop always gets a lot of crap for their low trade prices when they turn around and sell something. Well, it's not really any different than what we do or what any business does. You know, we buy something for cheap, sell it for more expensive. But it's the way of business. You know, there's especially in the livestock business, there's a lot of costs that come into everything. You know, fish dying, shipping, lease, rent, utilities, electric, gas, phones, internet, like we're doing here, paying a staff, paying your own bills. So there's a lot of that stuff that comes into play that, you know, is probably why a lot of places don't want to talk about it. I don't really have a problem telling people where I get my fish and potentially how much I pay for it. But as long as those people understand that, you know, there are expenses built into what you're paying. I'm not just buying a $2 fish and selling it to you for $5 and making $3. You know, maybe I'm making 20 cents after I factor in shipping and food and feeding the fish and loss and everything else. Nissa, no, trust me, I'm not leaving. I'm not going anywhere. And again, sorry, I'm trying to go down the scroll here to see everybody's questions. When are you planning another order? I'm doing another order next week. Probably only one. Our store is really heavily stocked now. We did a couple orders last week and a couple this week. So yeah, if you want anything, just let me know. For whatever reason, I don't really know why. I don't know if it's from fish getting imported or fish farms not having as much or what, but our vendors do seem to be really low on a lot of things right now. So yeah, let me know and I will look for it. Wanda, I'm not leaving. Jeff, sounds good. Have a good day, man. Ricky, lift the camera. Oh, whatever. Wait, how is that? That's got to be Megan. All right, cool. I'm actually back to caught up. Sean's top 3 advice to give the new fish keepers out there. My number 1 is be patient. It's aquariums. What you want to happen in one day could take months in reality. Never jump the gun. I would say that's one of them, so I'm not going to use that and steal yours. I guess my top 3, my number 1 piece of advice is find, before I get to that, love these videos, need to come visit you guys soon, support local shop. Thank you, David. I appreciate that. Yeah, please come visit. And we're going to keep doing more of these as well. Sean, my number 1 piece of advice to people is figure out what you want, what your number 1 thing is you want in your tank first, and then go from that. Don't buy a tank and then just start putting stuff in it because it fits. If you don't have a tank yet, figure out what fish you want, what size tank it needs, and then go from there. Get the other fish that will fit with that, get the tank size that'll fit with that, get the equipment that'll fit with that, and then add based on that fish. If you already have a tank, then find a fish that will fit in your tank, not a tank you think you're going to get later. Find something that will fit in your tank, and then again, just go from that. My number 2 piece of advice is don't buy the cheapest equipment you can get. Oftentimes, you know, there are good deals. If you see one filter that is $40 and another one that is $20, that are the same size, there's probably a reason that $20 filter is $20. Now, for some people that may work, but for others it may not. So don't buy the cheapest stuff just because it's cheap. You may regret it in the long run. My number 3 piece of advice is vary what you feed your fish. Don't feed them the same thing all the time. And I don't just mean flakes, pellets, frozen food, whatever. Different brands, different food. You may find something that your fish loves that's going to make them a lot healthier, bring out their color a lot more. So switch it up. Switch up what you're feeding them. And, you know, I think that about wraps up my advice. Ricky? All right, what time is it? 10:30, so we've got about another 20 minutes. What do you feel is the most common misconception when people come to the hobby or start up an aquarium? That a fish will only grow to the size of the tank it's in. And like I said, I was a reptile person, so I got that a lot too as a reptile person. It's not true. Fish don't grow to the size of the tank. Reptiles don't either. What typically happens is, as you guys know, we have this... Sorry, didn't mean to block the camera. As you guys know, we have this really big tank in the back of the store and up front. Say I put a red-tailed catfish back here. It's going to get big. It's going to get as big as it wants. Sorry, guys, give me 1 second. Thanks. What will happen is once it gets big enough that the tank isn't conducive to it anymore, it will start to become stressed. It will start to not eat as much. It will stop growing a little bit, but that doesn't mean that it's only growing to the size of the tank. That means it is going to slowly die because you're not taking care of it the right way. So that is, to me, probably the biggest misunderstanding is, you know, whether you put bala sharks in a 10-gallon or, you know, a red-tailed catfish in a 75-gallon or a green terror in a 20-gallon, whatever it is, they will keep getting bigger. They're only going to stop when they get sick and die because of stress and because of their conditions. I hope that answers that one. Nissa, my beta's in a 3-gallon with a rabbit snail. Everybody seems happy and healthy. I've been battering a mustard color algae. I do water changes, normal light schedule. Any thoughts? You'll have to send me some pictures of that. I'm not really... It's hard to picture a mustard color algae. I would say, I mean, without seeing it, around the summer, I tell everybody the same thing. You may think your tank is getting the same light it normally does. However, there is extra sunlight everywhere. Even if it's indirect sunlight, it's still extra light getting into that tank that's going to grow a different kind of algae. Our back tank here gets a lot more sunlight in the summer. For those that are in all the time, it's normally a really clear tank. Right now, it's a little green, and that's just because it's getting this extra sunlight in the back. Sean, more chapters to write. Thanks, Sean. Have a good day, man. I'm sure I'll talk to you soon. Actually, it sounds like I'll be seeing you tomorrow. Yeah, Nissa, send me some pictures. It's really, again, kind of hard to picture that. Did I get to everybody's questions? Is there a question? Oh, hey, Jackie. Hi. Hope you're having a good day. Come say hello sometime. Hey, Chris. I think I got to everybody's questions, but I still have another 15 minutes or so. Even if you guys have already asked things, feel free to keep asking. I don't really have much to do before we open, so I don't mind doing this for the next 15 minutes or so. And if I missed your question, just tell me. Jordan, no, I haven't yet. Sorry, there's a bug in my face. We are doing another supply order that should be here the end of next week. I am hoping to get some bigger pieces of lava rock on that one. Unfortunately, with our supplies, I can't just go order a thing. I have to wait until we hit a certain dollar amount as to when they will send out the supplies. And we just got an order in the other day, which was from, I want to say, a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. So we'll be doing another order next week that I should be getting in. Actually, a lot more lava rock, some more of the red jasper rock. I'm hoping for some limestone and some quartz. Oh my God, Megan. The hardest part of owning a fish store? Dave, no, they didn't come in. They got cut from the order. Actually, about at least a third of our order got cut this week. Blackworms were part of it, unfortunately. I'm going to try and get it next week, though. I only ordered from one vendor because they normally come, but they didn't. So I'll try again next week and maybe order them from two. Megan, first off, your Facebook still seems to say Keba. I'm pretty sure that's not your last name anymore. Second, I'd say there are two hard parts to owning a fish store. One is when things die. It sucks. We have been open almost a year now. You would think that I would have gotten used to the fact that, animals are going to die. It happens, things get sick. But I haven't got used to it. It sucks. Whether it's a little tetra or, something in our big back tank, my black ghost knife that died here recently. Whatever the case is, that part sucks. It will never not suck, I think. Which is why anybody that says we don't care about our animals, I will laugh at you, because anytime we lose an animal, it really sucks. The other hardest part is time. I'm here most days for 12 hours a day, even though we're only open 8 or 10 hours a day. Even on a day off, I still end up being in the store for a decent portion of the day. There's just not a lot of time. There's just how it is. I assume that's with any small business. But it's just how it is. You get less time with friends, less time with family. I'm pretty sure the only time I see my wife is here or when we're going to bed. So yeah, I'd say it's those two things. What else you guys got? Megan, also aren't you working? Is your whole staff or your whole department watching this? I actually don't know, Megan. I don't know. Any advice to people that may have the same dream of owning their own store, whether it be a reptile or fish store? What to do, what not to do, what to look for, not to, and so on. I guess a couple pieces of advice I would have is, one, do every bit of research possible. We've been open for about a year, but this is something Megan and I had talked about for years. This was one of the things I wanted to open, but it wasn't the only one. So we had researched lots and lots and lots of things. We actually still have a whiteboard at home with our different ideas. And then once we realized we were doing this, we have a whiteboard with all the steps needed to even get to the point of opening the store. It's not just as easy as getting into a place, setting stuff up, and selling it. There is a lot to do. There's a lot of back-end stuff. I would suggest anybody that wants to do something like this, that hasn't worked retail or hasn't worked sales, that hasn't ran a business, to not necessarily go into business school, but look into some business classes or something of that nature. Just get educated on that a little bit. That will help. My other piece of advice is don't jump the gun. Don't do it just because you want to at that time. Do it when it's the right time, when it's the right situation, when everything lines up. And don't do it if it's something you're not absolutely passionate about. That's the biggest thing. Yeah, I think that's most of it. The other piece of advice would be keep it fun. It is work. Obviously this is what I love to do. It's still work. Sometimes I still just want to go home and play a video game or watch a movie and go to sleep. Do what you can to keep it fun. No matter how much you absolutely love it, it's still going to be work sometimes. I love that most of the last couple questions are just coming from my wife. I don't know. I don't know if we will get back into selling reptiles. We're going to keep up with the snakes, I believe, maybe. I think fish will always be our main priority. Maybe when we get a bigger building, we will start doing more reptiles. We'll go from there. I think for a while it's just going to be fish and some snakes here and there, though. And if anybody wants anything, we will still order it, but we're not going to keep a ton of reptiles in the store. Right now, just for room's sake, we just need the room. Jordan was wondering about a small, medium-sized pleco, maybe like an Asian suckerfish or sunshine pleco. Wasn't sure on any others I could incorporate into a cichlid tank. Jordan, I would say, one, it depends on the size of the tank. A sunshine pleco wouldn't be a bad idea. They're obviously not the cheapest things. I don't know if you've looked into that. And why do you want it? Do you just want a pleco, or do you want something for algae, or do you just want something cool to look at? If you want something cool to look at, yeah, definitely, you know. Okay, so 60 tall. So why do you want it? I guess would be the other reason, or the other question. Steven, I'll get to that in a second. Jordan, I would say if you want something in there to look cool, not necessarily for algae or cleanup, yeah, sunshine, a gold nugget, a green phantom, blue phantom, a flash pleco, some of the other ones we have in now, some of the ones we don't, obviously. Some of that stuff would be cool. If you want something to actually take care of algae, then yeah, maybe like some giant autosynclus or some Asian algae eaters, you know, something like that would actually be better. Some of the plecos, especially some of those, are more plant eaters, and some of them are actually more meat eaters. So yeah, it just depends on why you want it, but I mean, a sunshine pleco and a cichlid tank would look awesome. They're amazing fish. I don't know if you guys could hear that, but one of the peacock bass just jumped. Not out onto the floor, they just jumped. Steven, it's never a bad idea. I don't know if Jackie's still here, but Dave, one of our customers, has a 10-gallon sump on a 20-gallon tank. Adding a sump to a tank is never a bad idea. If you know how to do it, know what you're doing. Realistically, all you're doing is adding water to the tank, and adding filtration. So, you know, why not? Basically would be my answer. What type and size canister filter would you recommend using for 275-gallon tanks? Ricky, if you're talking like one canister to run both tanks, you know, definitely like an FX6 or something of that nature. Maybe even an FX4. Personally, on any of my 75-gallon tanks, I like to run 2 hang-on back filters and then a sponge filter. I'll put one on each side of the tank. I feel like that gives you a little more filtration, also gives you better water flow, and gives you better oxygenation of the water. So, you know, I may put 2 60-gallon filters on each side of the tank and go that way. But if you wanted just a canister, something like an FX4, I know that seems like overfiltration, but it's not for 75, so that would probably be a good option. Pom-pom crabs. What kind of fish snails do you recommend cohabitating? So, you know, I was talking earlier about crayfish. You know, they have the claws to be aggressive. They should be aggressive. Same with pom-pom crabs. You know, they should be able to kill things and attack things. We had a customer that kept them with micro spider crabs, and I believe they were aggressive towards them. However, I've never had them be aggressive towards any fish. I've kept them with neon tetras. I have them with silver dollars, and female betas right now, and I have no issues. So I would say any smaller fish, you'd be fine with. Anything that isn't just going to munch on the snails, like a puffer, like a cichlid, any of the smaller stuff, and you're fine. They're really cool little crabs. I did make the mistake of putting them with tiny chromide cichlids. The chromides weren't having it. I'm pretty sure they thought they were food. I got them out, but still it happened. Steven, I would just say, you know, like a 20 to 30 gallon sump would be completely fine for a 55 gallon. No matter what you do, it's going to be extra filtration, and you'd be fine. Hell, you could do a 40 gallon and be fine. So Jordan, yeah, if you're looking for cleanup and diversity, sunshine would be fine. A nugget, phantom, potentially even a royal, something of that nature. Especially if you're looking for diversity, you'd be fine with any of that. Sorry, not the royal. They get a little big. What time is it? 10:45. All right, so what we're going to do is, unless anybody has any last minute questions. Oh, my wife does. Okay. And then we'll show something else. So personally, I'm not a huge fan of live plants. For no real reason other than care. I like the fish. I would rather care for the fish than the plants. It's just my weird 2 cents. I know it's probably not right, probably not what most people think. It's just kind of my opinion. I do like live or real substrate, real rock, real wood, stuff like that. I just think the plants can add a level of extra care that you need, that if you don't want to take care of them, they're just going to mess up your tank. So, you know, just make sure whatever plants you're getting are things you want and want to take care of. Jordan, make a trip up tomorrow, see what's up and what's available. Awesome, man. We will see you tomorrow. We just got some cool plecos in this week, too. But I do like fake plants, and everybody will see why. Or not see why, but see what we're doing. Any planted val? I don't believe so, but I will check for you. Let me see if I can. I don't know if I can turn this camera around. There we go. All right. So speaking of fake plants, we redid the front tank. This is not a final stocking at all. We're going to be adding a lot to it. I just wanted to get some stuff in here this morning before we add more throughout the week and next week. But we got all the cichlids out. They are all in the store on sale. I'll be making a sale post here soon. All the cichlids that were in here are going to be, I believe, $9.99, other than the frontosa. They're all in tanks and all ready to be sold. All the rock as well that we had in this tank is all in tanks and ready to be sold. We normally sell our rock for $3 a pound. It's going to be on sale for $1 a pound. So you can come get that as well. Not the rock that we have on the shelf, but the stuff that was in this tanks and the stuff that's already still in tanks. So before I end this, if anybody does have any other questions, you can ask them while I'm showing this and I'll answer them after. This is going to be our new display tank for the next 6 months or so. It is going to be, sorry about the glare, it's going to be a rainbow fish tank, primarily. Right now I've got some Australian rainbows, some Doriti rainbows, some Bosemani, some red rainbows, some yellow rainbows. I think that's it on the rainbow side. We also put the big royal pleco back in here. I also have the giraffe catfish. What else? This is my kind of pride and joy fish. Since I loved all my snakes, I love my eels. This is a Gymnothrax polyuranodon. Sounds like a dinosaur. This is the only actual true freshwater moray eel. and they are awesome. They're also really, really, really expensive. He was in here before with the cichlids, and we put him back in here with the rainbows. What else do I have in here? Clown loaches. We've got 5 clown loaches swimming around back there. And where's the other fish? There it is. You guys probably won't be able to see it well. There's a ropefish. Sorry, again, the glare. We have a ropefish in here as well. We are going to be adding a lot more rainbows, a couple plecos, maybe even a couple more eels, and hopefully some clown loaches throughout the weeks coming up. And it'll be our new display tank. And you guys can see what it looks like to have a giant tank full of peaceful fish. Ricky, that's hard. Yes, I would say typically tire track eels tend to do well with African cichlids. We had one in here with the Africans we had before. It was fine. However, you know, Africans are Africans. Sometimes they will be aggressive and try and attack anything. A fire eel would get too big. Peacock eel would stay too small. One of those, I just wouldn't advise it because of how pricey it is. But a tire track eel would probably be great. Angels, maybe a peacock eel. That's the only one I would suggest. So maybe a zebra eel, but those are kind of more rare. Megan, this is our custom aquariums tank. They provided this to us to display. It's our 240-gallon display tank. We do sell their tanks. We don't sell them in store. They are tanks that you would come in and order, and we would order and they would get shipped to you in 8 to 10 weeks. They do everything custom to size. So if you want a 12-foot long tank that's a foot tall and 3 foot wide, they'll do it. Basically any size tank you want, you tell us, we get the price and let you know. And that's that. They also all come with their all-in-one sump, which is awesome. The last thing I wanted to say about this tank is we obviously did take out all the substrate. I've got some different river rock here, and then we added some Eco Complete and some cichlid substrate just to kind of round it out. It kind of looks sandy, but it's more like crushed coral. And that's why the clown loaches and this guy are going to do so well in here. This giraffe catfish they get pretty large. They get about 2 feet, but they kind of sift through the gravel, which is going to be awesome for this guy. So that's it. I guess before I end, a couple other things to add. We have a couple days left in the month for anybody to get their shirt orders in. If anybody wants any of the Fish Bish or They Look Good shirts, we'll be putting in the order at the end of the month. Megan, what else? Also, everything in our tanks we sell. So all of these fish, all of these decorations, all this substrate is stuff you can buy in the store. Oh yeah, sorry Megan. We will also be getting in our reusable Boggs Aquatics bags here very soon. We will have them for sale, and they will also get you a discount on stuff in the store. So they should be here probably by next week, and we'll make an announcement when they do come in. Everybody, thanks for joining this. This has actually been a lot of fun for me. Like I said, I will do another one of these at night sometime, potentially really soon. If I did miss any of your questions, I don't think I did, feel free to send a message and I'll add it. But feel free to get some questions ready for next time we do one. Anything else? I don't believe so. What time is it? 10:54. I'm gonna get the store open, and we will see you guys soon. Where do I place an order? Michelle, just basically message us. We just need to know what size, what you want them to say, either the Fish Bish or They Look Good, and what color. The shirts are either going to be blue, black, or gray. So just let us know those 3 things, and we will get them for you. Nissa, yeah, I basically just asked you to send me some pictures. But there was some other stuff too, so send me a message and yeah, watch the replay, and I'll talk to you. That's it, guys. We will talk to you soon. I'm gonna get the store open. Have a great day, guys.